Hi, Royal Ones. This is Miss Gigi. I'm coming at you again with another juicy episode. Let's get straight into it. Let's talk about Mr. Malcolm X. I love the quote that he created. It says, "If you don't stand for something, you'll fall for anything." And I think that's very, very powerful. As a civil rights leader, he decided to take a stand against racism. He decided to take a stand against nonviolence so that we will not lose control of our civil rights. And I think that's very beautiful. Um, he was born Malcolm Little, and he, he changed. Okay, so he was born May 19th, 1925, in Omaha, Nebraska. Unfortunately, he died February 21st, 1965. Malcolm X was a African American Muslim minister, human rights activist, and a key spokesperson for the Nation of Islam, which epitomized the Black Power philosophy. By the early 1960s, Malcolm X had grown frustrated with the nonviolent, integrated struggle for the civil rights, and worried that blacks would lose control of their own movement. So he urged followers to defend themselves against white aggression by any means necessary. In Ghana, Miss Maya Angelou joined a community of revolutionist returnees, exploring Pan-Africanism, and became close with human rights activist and black nationalist leader Malcolm X. In 1964, on returning to the U.S., she helped him set up the Organization of Afro-American Unity, which disbanded after Malcolm X's assassination the following year. He was assassinated February 21st, 1965, so the organization disbanded in 1966. Malcolm X promoted the nation's teachings. These beliefs included that black people are the original people of the world. The goal of Malcolm X envisioned the Nation of Islam wanted blacks to set up their own schools, churches, and support networks. Malcolm X made great contribution to the black community, encouraging race pride, black power, and black nationalism. Thus, this built up our self-esteem, integrity, and strong mental mindset in the black race, which gave us a strong sense of black pride and awareness. Elijah Muhammad taught that white society actively worked to keep African Americans from empowering themselves and achieving political, economic, and social success. It was while Malcolm X was in prison that he was introduced to the ideas of Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Nation of Islam. Fundamentally, the group believes in the racial superiority of blacks. It was the great Elijah Muhammad instructed Malcolm to drop his last name, which his ancestors inherited from a slave owner, and replace it with the letter X, which symbolized his true African name had been lost. Malcolm X advocated black pride and financial self-reliance. He ultimately rose to become a world-renowned African American and human rights activist. In the 1960s, when racism was still prominent, Malcolm X believed in separationism, believing blacks living apart, separate from the whites in the United States. Elijah Muhammad also charged him with establishing new mosques in cities such as Detroit, Michigan, and Harlem. Malcolm utilized newspaper columns as well as radio and television to communicate the Nation of Islam's messages across the United States. His charisma, drive, and conviction attracted an astounding a number of new members. Malcolm was largely credited with increasing membership in the NOI from 500 in 1952 to 30,000 in 1963. All this gained Malcolm media attention, and some say more than Elijah Muhammad. When Malcolm was 6, his father, Earl Little, died from a streetcar running over him. Whether it was an accident or murder is disputed. In his autobiography, Malcolm blamed his father's death on the Black Legion. Now, the Black Legion is a white supremacist group similar to the Ku Klux Klan. Reverend Earl Little was born in 1890 and he died in 1931. May his soul rest in peace. Malcolm X had learned that his mentor and leader, the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, was secretly having relations with many as 6 women within the Nation of Islam organization, as if that were enough. Malcolm found out that some of these relationships had resulted in children. His faith was tested and angered Malcolm very much. He admired and respected the great Elijah Muhammad and adhered to his teachings and remained celibate until his marriage to Betty Shabazz in 1958. Malcolm X did not want to help Elijah Muhammad cover up his affairs or the secret children. Malcolm, in fact, left the NOI and started his own religion organization, Muslim Mosque Inc. Doing so angered Malcolm even more, and it angered the leaders of the NOI that he left in 1964, and he formed his own movement. The Nation of Islam has repeatedly denied any involvement in Malcolm's assassination. Hagen, then known as by the name Talmage X Hayer, was in his early 20s and a radical member of the Nation of Islam the day he entered the ballroom armed and ready to kill. Malcolm X was 39 years old and murdered by members of the NOI. On February 21st, 1965, the former Nation of Islam leader, Malcolm X, was killed and assassinated and identified as Black Muslims as he was about to address the Organization of Afro-American Union at the Audubon Ballroom in Harlem. His wife, Betty Shabazz, and 4 children were in the crowd. In 1964, Malcolm went on a pilgrimage to Mecca, which proved to be life-altering for him. For the first time, Malcolm shared his thoughts and beliefs with different cultures and found the response to be overwhelmingly positive. He returned to the United States with a new outlook on integration and new hope for the future. This time, when Malcolm spoke, instead of just preaching to African Americans, he had a message for all races. During this time of spiritual enlightenment, Malcolm changed his last name to Shabazz. His full name changed to El-Hajj Malik El-Shabazz. Malcolm's assassins, Talmage Hayer, Norman 3X Butler, and Thomas 15X Johnson, were convicted of first-degree murder in March 1966. The 3 men were members of the Nation of Islam. Malcolm X is buried at Ferncliff Cemetery in Hartsdale, New York. Malcolm X left 6 children with his wife Betty Shabazz, Quabella Shabazz, Atala Shabazz, Elijah Shabazz, Malika Shabazz, Camilla Shabazz, and Malik Shabazz. Malcolm X is a national American holiday in the honor of the civil rights leader Malcolm X. It's celebrated either May 19th on his birthday or the 3rd Sunday of May. The commemorations have been proposed as an official state holiday in the United States of Illinois since 2015. All right, Royal Ones, let me know what you think about Mr. Malcolm X. You know, I admire Mr. Malcolm X for his bravery, his bold stand, and his sense of cultural awareness and authenticity. You know, I find his comments to be bold and refreshing because all anybody ever wanted for blacks was freedom, liberty, and respect. And he made sure we got them when he was alive and well. So let me know what you think about Mr. Malcolm X, you Royal Ones. Thank you so much for listening to this message. Don't forget to comment, share, like, and subscribe. Love, hugs, and kisses. Bye.